First, there came the Earth. Then, there came D&D. Then, there came me, spending way too much money on D&D stuff. I wanted to figure out if most or any of this stuff is even worth it, so I rated it in a stream, and I don't have that many viewers. So I'm sorry if that little chat on the side barely moves. Also, links to everything in this video, or similar, are in the description. So, here on this table alone, I've got hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of D&D stuff. I want to show a fair few of them to you guys and rate them. And the reason why we're rating them is to decide what is like kind of useless and pointless and fluff, and to decide what, in my opinion, is integral, is necessity. So first off, I've got a normal classic resin dice. I don't think I've got the lens to really show you properly, but it's just a basic dice. You can get a set of this for $10. These are probably the cheapest dice I own. They roll average. But then I went down a route where I started trying to buy expensive dice. And I found these dice from a company called Dice Envy. And looks-wise, you're not going to be able to see the numbers, I don't think. But this is like, supposedly like obsidian, like gemstone dice, which is all black, which is impossible to read, but really nice to use and really weighty. And then from the same company, I got these prism ones. The light reflects through them really well. And I would rate these much higher if it wasn't for the fact that the prism ones broke in half about 2 months after buying them. We've glued it back together, but it's slightly off, and this dice is 100% unbalanced now, and completely you can't be used. However, where it gets interesting is I wanted something light and cool and that stood out, that felt good in your hands. I grabbed these dice from Fanroll. Oh, they're like made of this kind of rubber stuff that feels really nice, and it's so light. However, when I bought them, the guy who cashed me out was like, by the way, we've had some, not complaints, but people have warned us that these are really, really bouncy. And I was like, I don't mind bouncy, I'll just be careful with them. But the problem is, they never, ever land in the tray. They're way too bouncy. These are pretty much unusable. But that's okay, because it's led to my favorite dice I own. And that is on Amazon. There's these silicone dice, and they're just black dice with gold detailing on the numbers. And I don't know that the lighting's bad here, but they're really visible. Fundamentally very similar material. They're super light. They don't feel solid, if that makes sense. Like not like hard plasticky. They feel soft and just nice to hold. And these will roll. Wow, I've not rolled over a 15 in all these rolls. And I've got my dice down here. So let's just throw them all in B for now. And I think definitely when it comes to buying dice for me, I think the standard has to be just normal resin dice. That has to be a B. So everything else kind of falls above or below that. I want to put like the gemstone ones up at A, but because they look and feel awesome, but they cost $125. And they broke. I literally broke them really, really easily. So they're fragile, which unfortunately means they like drop down to a C. Then these ones are a D, unfortunately. They look really cool, honestly, and they feel nice in the hands, but they just bounce everywhere. You cannot use them as dice. But these ones, and these are the black ones, they're just like, I got this picture from Amazon. These are the same ones. My favorite dice ever. They go into A. All right, now let's take a look at some interesting accessories that are out there, but I don't think many people actually own. And we'll continue the dice train real quick. These are health dice in a health potion bottle. So when you give out health potions and wants to take it, they just take the cork off and use it. I loved these when I first had them. They were a gift from my fiance. I still love them, I promise. But there is an issue. And it's just an issue with this one in particular. And that is that they struggle to come out. Oh, here's a health potion. You pop the cork and you're like trying to throw them out, and just one came out. And two came out. And then three came out. And it's like, I just want them all to fall out. I don't want to have to shake it like a madman. But I found that I barely ever use this. And I think that's probably a big part of this video. It's like, do I use the stuff I bought? And the answer is often no, unfortunately. So I think I'm just going to throw this into the C tier. Okay. Something that has got a lot more use than I thought it would get is this little box of condition rings. Different colored rings with different conditions written on them, and this is very particular that it's like really good for high level play, because if you're a DM like me who gets distracted very easily when running combat by all the many different things going on, it's very useful to have those markers. And honestly, there's nothing special about them. They just do the thing. And next up is flyers. I talked about this in a video in the past as well. Once again, high level play. Something about when my players get over level 12, everything's flying. Very useful to have. The fact I only have 2 of them is a crime, to be honest. For me, I do a lot of battle map play. I do a lot of minis play, and both the condition rings and the risers are integral. Giant book of battle mats. Volume 3 doesn't have to be volume 3. Doesn't have to be the giant book. They have smaller versions. This thing is by far my favorite D&D accessory. I've talked about it a ton. It has like 50 pages with different battle mats on each page, gridded, that you can just throw minis on. They're dry, wet erase. That's not right. But you know what I mean. You can draw on them and rub it off really easily. And, you know, to play devil's advocate, it's falling apart at the edges, at the seams. Something about binding, things like this, you like constantly opening and closing it, you're going to eventually ruin it, or I do anyway. But I've had this for like 2.5 years now, at least 2 years. It still gets pulled out all the time. It's so good. It's so good. And I love it. The battle mats are S tier. They just are. But I guess that brings me pretty nicely into these big boxes here. Warlock tiles. They are the next level up to using the battle map book. One of these boxes will let you build this entire house. Huh? And 2 of them will let you build a dungeon under the house. Or you can connect the 2, like I did here. And this, unfortunately, most of the stuff, like I have pre-built rooms and stuff downstairs. So I figured I would just grab this little section of a room for you guys to see. It's just like a little push and click. Unclick. Click in. And you can build like, I mean, nothing insane. You know, it's not like a Lego set. We can build some really cool playmats, I guess. No problem. And build up really, really cool encounters doing this. But for me, there is something pretty therapeutic about putting together some terrain like this. I like it, man. I like it. Like, if you want to go down that route of terrain, it's way cheaper than the really expensive ones like Dwarven Forge. It's probably the best, like, entry-level stuff, so it's an A. It is. Candles! Real quick, guys, I am new to Twitch and don't have that many followers over there. If you like this kind of content, head over to Twitch and follow me if you want to take part in videos like this in the future. I'm probably live right now. Also, subscribe to this channel. Okay, back to the gear. Okay. Hot, 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 hot. Bit in my hand. Oh, that's hot. Okay. This is a candle from Wicked Warlock. This one is Elven City flavored. So it smells like you would expect an Elven City to smell. It's an open flame. I don't really like holding it like this. It smells nice. And candles may be so far away in your mind to like D&D accessories, like why they're useful. But 2 things, there's kind of a stereotype with like gamers that they stink, especially when you put 6 of them in a room. I don't think D&D players smell that much, honestly. But at least if you get a candle that smells nice, you know you're not smelling. I don't know, it just sets the scene. Like, I think that's part of what I'm trying to do with my D&D sessions now. Set the scene a little bit more. Hey there, what are we doing? I'm looking at everything I own. Yeah, candles are nice. Absolutely not for everyone though. So, also candles are expensive as hell. That's the biggest issue. So it's a B, because I love it, but I totally understand why other people would be like, why would I ever use a candle? Journals? This is interesting. This one's fun. Well, depends on your definition of fun. They are the D&D journals. I think this one costs like $20 more than this one. They're both D&D journals, but this one is official, like Wizards of the Coast D&D. It's nice. It's got a nice clasp to it. It looks nice. Feels nice in the hand. It's all square. It's not lines on the inside. Square lined. However, this one, for like $10 cheaper and unofficial, has like way more stuff involved in it. They have like hex pages. They have blank pages. They have character sheet pages, they have lines, they have squares. However, at the end of the day, and it always comes down to the end of the day, you can buy any old paper journal from Amazon for a couple of bucks. You can buy a bunch of them, and they're useful for other things as well. So part of me is like, inherently, unless you're looking for just an aesthetically really, really cool journal, C tier for both of them, I think. I don't think this is D tier. I think it's C tier. And I think this is better than that, but not enough to go into B. So they're both going into C. Sue me. Should we do now? Smoke machine, deck of many things. Let's do deck of many things. Okay, so A few months ago, I did a video on the Book of Many Things, which came with a deck of many more things, which is here. And I also wanted to compare that to 2 different other decks at cheaper price points, which are right here. For anyone who doesn't know, the Deck of Many Things in D&D is a deck of cards. Each card is a different symbol and has a different name, and when you pull from it, different things happen. Like if you pull the Knight card, the character who pulls from it gets a knight to fight alongside them. If you pull the Void card, the character gets pulled into a black hole and is imprisoned somewhere else. It can be really rewarding, but also incredibly punishing. This is like the cheapest deck you can find on Amazon. They're just pretty minimalistic, white, with the symbol on there. The art's pretty cool. And they're nice and big too. I don't just have small hands. And if you just wanted a prop to use in your game with this deck, these will do it. And honestly, I recommend using a prop. I got so much excitement from my players when I pulled out physical things. And this is something they can pull from. It's a mini game in itself. Be used for other things. If you're going to use the Deck of Many Things in your game, I recommend getting an actual physical deck. It's so much fun. I think that's like $20. But I also grabbed, and these are very, very cool, another Deck of Many Things, which are fundamentally the same. I think these are from Hit Point Press. Oh, my camera went off. Oh no. Hold on. That sucks. My camera overheated. I got sucked into the void. It moves. I know the camera quality is not as good, but look how cool that is. And there's like 25 of these, and they're all different animations. Death. They're very cool to have on your shelf and show off. The official Wizards of the Coast stuff comes with this book of many things, which, in my opinion, I don't like how it's laid out. And some of the content in there is not that useful, but it's got so many cool magic items in there that it's worth it. And then the actual deck, this is genuinely one of my favorite things I own as a D&D boy. This Deck of Many Things, like a little chest, open it up. It's got a little reference book, which is pointless. Ignore the reference book. But it comes with like 60 of these cards. The other ones comes with like 20. This one, 60. It's so many more cards that make using the deck like more fun and safer. Because the old deck was like, there's a 50% chance your character would just flat out die or something horrible would happen to them. So no one wanted to pick. This is a little bit more forgiving. But the cards themselves look so nice. They have like a gold foil around them. It doesn't really do it justice on camera, to be honest. Though, most D&D players' worst enemy. But they're really nice to handle as well. And every time I pull out this, my players light up. They love it. It's so fun. And also, just as a DM, I love just handing chaos to my players. Because that's what it is. You're just handing out chaos and chance. And I just feel like that's what D&D is. Now, here's my one. I'm gonna put it in S. So many people are gonna hate on me for that because it shouldn't be an S. It's such a niche product that I know some people had problems with. I know it had issues when it came out. Wizards of the Coast kind of messed up production of it and stuff. But just owning it and showing it to people, I love it. It's going to S. The animated cards, same thing, but not as good. So that's an A. And then just a basic Deck of Many Things. You know what? Actually, let's shift stuff down a little bit. Because it's how much I use this stuff as well. And I technically just don't use it as much as like a lot of other stuff here. So I'm going to move it all down 1. Where's my little sphere boy? Okay, this little see-through bad boy is an area of effect measurer. I don't know what it's officially called. But it will measure the radius of like fireball or cones or anything like that you want to do. You can just hold this over your mat and see the radius that it's going to affect really quickly. I personally, as a DM, don't use this very much. I don't know why. I think I'm quite good at just counting squares, but I've got players who will use this all the time. It's so much easier for them just to throw this over and look at it. So because of that, it's going to go in A because it gets a load of use at my table. Tons of use. And it's cheap. And it's useful. What I don't have is a ruler for measuring distance. I should get one of them for sure. This is just general books. General books. But specifically, the latest one I bought, which was the Quests from the Infinite Staircase, I have come full circle on... what's the word? What's the word? What's Black Mirror? What's... every episode is different kind of thing. It'll come to me. But I've come full circle on books that are just a bunch of small adventures that can be ran without connecting to each other at all. When I first started playing D&D, I was a fan of the big long-running campaigns with one big bad where everything that happened in each chapter had like a knock-on effect, and NPCs were reoccurring and all that stuff. But now I've become more of a comfortable DM. I'm good at filling in that stuff myself. And it's nice to have stuff that I can just grab inspiration from, drop anywhere I want, and just go with the flow. And this book's really good for that. Journeys of the Radiant Citadel, also really good for that. And I mean, they're D&D books. They're D&D books. They're not for everyone. I have to admit, as far as D&D books go, I like having them. I like collecting them. They do help me a lot at like getting started, but I maybe only use 10% of a book. Let's be honest, I use 10% of one of these books. I pay 60 bucks and I use 6 books worth of it. So I'm not sure that's worth it. And the stuff that I could do, like the use I get out of it, is like inspiration and starting points and fun ideas. I could come up with that myself. And the more I did that, the better I would get at doing it. So in a way, you could argue the book's holding me back. But I think they're a super useful resource, especially for new DMs, and I like using them. I do like using them, even though I only use 10%. So it's going to be a B. Smoke machine. So this smoke machine right here is not for everyone. In fact, I'm going to give it, I love it, but I'm going to give it a low rating. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have bought it if I wasn't trying to make YouTube videos. And also, on that same note, it's very useful to me for product shots for YouTube videos and content creation. So I have to think of it as not as a content creator, but just as like a D&D boy. And if this was just for D&D, it's not good. It's not good. It's also leaking oil everywhere right now. 1 second. It's leaking everywhere. Not in like a bad way, not in like a, oh my God, it shouldn't be leaking, but I think just in like a, I didn't put it away properly and some oil got out and is now all over it. But let me see if I can get it to go in here. Yeah. See how that's just sitting in this dice tray? So if you have a terrain with like an enclosed wall like this, like my warlock tiles, you can just like put this smoke in there to sit in there and it stays there for a while. And even just dice trays, you can just roll into it, you know, like that. But the reality is it will dissipate pretty fast, especially if anyone moves it. It also smells a little bit and you end up with a smoky room afterwards. It also, the oil can like sit at the bottom of here when if you leave it in for too long. It's not an issue, you can just wipe it up. But I love this as a gadget and I love showing it off and I think it's incredibly cool, like personally. However, this isn't a video where I look at items for D&D fans who are also content creators who also like smoke. This is a video about D&D fans and I just don't think people will use this that much. It's just not that useful. It's a D, unfortunately. The final thing on this list is this bag, which I've shown in the past. My fiance has hidden it, not on purpose, in a way that she's put it away, probably where it belongs, and I don't know where that is. Having a D&D bag like this, incredibly useful. I used to use it all the time when I used to go around friend's house to DM, but now we have our own kind of setup here. Never use it. Never leave the house for D&D. I am literally tomorrow leaving the house for D&D, but that is a one-off. That is a one-off thing, so it's not that useful nowadays. But we also used it for a while just as storage as well. Like if you got a smaller space, we just put all our D&D stuff in it. All this stuff that I've looked at today would just all fit in that bag, except the big book of battle mat stuff. So I think it's so useful, and it will be useful in the future, even though right now it's not getting that much use out of it. And that's everything. I think that's everything. That's the full tier list done. In summary, lots of money doesn't get you that much, and you don't need any of this stuff. But if you have money and want to spend it, then that was my tier list. And thank you for watching. I know the title says I spent thousands of dollars on D&D gear. It sounds like I just did this. I didn't. It's not misleading. It's true. I spent thousands of dollars on D&D gear over the course of 3 years.